Welcome, Simon's Trading Channel. Happy Friday to you. Yes, it's the end of another week. Where does the time go? Time to get straight on with the price action analysis. Thanks for joining me for another one of my, videos. I hope you enjoy it, and if you do, please like and subscribe. Now, I haven't drawn a channel in a while, but looking at this 4-hour Bitcoin chart made me think, looks like it's in a pretty significant range. So I'm going to chuck a channel on, and it kind of works out. So, yeah, basically today's been a very green day for Bitcoin. I think it's done like 3% or something. And I think people are probably going to be like, yeah, it's going to go back on its way to a new all-time high. Now, that may be the case. And I could probably make arguments for that, but I'm not so sure looking at the price action. So here's the 4-hour. Now, if in doubt, zoom out, of course. Now you can see indeed momentum switched to the upside by crossing the zero line yesterday in the early hours, just when it coincided with a cross of the midpoint of this range. And I should probably explain what I've got. So I've just picked out these highs, and these highs as the top of what I'm defining as a range. It's coming in around about 100K just underneath. And then all these lows, this low and this wick low, which are basically around 92. And then when you put on a channel, you get a midpoint automatically put on, which is there, and you can see it picks out the significant areas of price action halfway in between the top and the bottom of the range. So, yeah, as the price closed above the middle of the range, so momentum shifted to the upside on the MACD. It's on the 4-hour time frame, and it'll remain going to the upside as long as Bitcoin's closing 4 hours above call it 97 and a half, which lo and behold is around this high here. And so I would suggest that if a Bitcoin doesn't close at least a few 4 hours, which probably turn into a daily above 100K, it's likely to remain within this range. It's a pretty big range. It's about $8,000. And I would be so bold to say that if it starts to close 4-hour candles below 97.5, but particularly 95.5, then this range is going to go on for longer. So there's more consolidation. But more consolidation without breaking down below 92 kind of looks good. And obviously, if it starts to close above 100K, that looks good for more upside too. If I throw on the Bollinger Band at this point, you can see, maybe take off my range now. Take off the range. You can see that it's been fairly bouncy from the point of view of volatility and consolidation. So the 4 hours consolidating up until that same candle where volatility expanded to the upside. And that was when the price was above the midpoint of the Bollinger Band. So the midpoint of the Bollinger Band is now coming in at 95.5, just around about the same point as the midpoint of the range that I've just deleted. And so, yeah, as long as Bitcoin doesn't start closing 4 hours below there, well, upside is more likely. It is probably going to get resistance to around 100K. So that's about it for the 4-hour time frame. The daily is a bit less dramatic, but significantly, I've got a Bollinger Band here, as you can see. So there's not really any volatility expansion on the daily. There's a little bit here to the downside, but then it's cooled off. And when volatility cools off, it tends to be attracted to the midpoint of the Bollinger Band, which is what's happened to price so far. Now, the daily has got 3.5 hours to go until it closes. The midpoint of the Bollinger Band is at 97.5, right? It's about $1,000 away from where price is at the moment. So if it can close above there, well, then price is back into the top half of the Bollinger Band. And if volatility then expands, it's more likely that the expansion will be to the upside. So I don't think that's particularly likely over the next few days to weeks, as in daily volatility expansion. However, when it does occur, when I say weeks, maybe I should rephrase. I don't think the volatility expansion based on the price action from the last few weeks, in fact, going back to towards the end of November, I don't think it's likely to occur in the next few days. Maybe it will occur towards the latter part of January. I lost my train of thought there. But yeah, regardless of volatility expansion, so even if it continues to contract along with the narrowing of the Bollinger Bands, the longer that the price is above the midpoint of the Bollinger Band, then the more likely when volatility does expand, the price move will be to the upside. And conversely, if price was to turn down from where it is now, it would very quickly be back below the bottom of the Bollinger Band. Doesn't make much difference though in a low volatility environment, but should volatility then expand, if it's below the 20 SMA, which is the midpoint of the Bollinger Band, then the move will likely to be to the downside. I get the feeling that there might be a slow grind with further downside price action, like I've been saying for a little while. Maybe be getting some prices in the mid to high 80s. Although I have to say that what Bitcoin has done in the last 24 hours has made me doubt that a little bit. So we'll see. You can see that momentum is still to the downside on the daily, although it has turned up. And it will continue to go up, even though momentum's to the downside, goes below the zero line, but it will continue with an upward trajectory as long as Bitcoin's closing dailies above 95K. So all around that midpoint, 95K was more pertinent to the 4-hour time frame, which was the midpoint of that range that I showed you. But you can see there's a fair buffer, there's like a $3,500 buffer for Bitcoin to pull back and still maintain that green shade on the MACD, with only 3.5 hours to go before this daily candle closes. It's also Friday, so CME, let me have a little look at you. I'm just going to skip onto the weekly, and you can see, yeah, it's a nice green. CME is going to close its weekly candle in just 1.5 hours. So it's a fairly bullish closure on this week, but the key thing is it didn't close above last week's high. But that is a bullish engulfing with regards to the body of this weekly candle here. It's no great shakes though, but what it is a candle that didn't continue the weekly downtrend of sorts or downside move that had occurred over the previous 3 weeks. So a good closure on CME for this week, but it effectively is a closure that continues a sideways consolidation on a daily time frame with cooling of volatility, as you can see on the Bollinger Band. I just hope that this isn't a sign of this, because that was probably the most boring 6 months of trading and investing I've ever come across. I hope it's more like this, which it's starting to look like. It is starting to look like. So an impulsive move up, followed by several weeks consolidation, but not months on end, followed by another move up. So impulsive move up, several weeks consolidation, hopefully not a few months, followed by another move up. All right, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, like and subscribe. And have a great weekend. I'll see you on Monday. Take care. Bye-bye.